off of my back and into my game. Get out of my way and out of my brain.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to That Works, a DreamWorks podcast in which a happily unemployed photographer barely getting by on DoorDash, a disgruntled ex-journalist now writing Scott Pilgrim fan fiction, and a spineless asthmatic 26-year-old curmudgeon sweeping movie theaters for a living get to look at these 20-year-old DreamWorks movies. And today we have a very special entry. It's the third of four traditionally animated features from DreamWorks. Spirit, subtitle Stallion of the Cimarron, which came out in 2002. Now, before I go any further, there are spoilers. Again, 20-year-old kids' movies. Do we really need spoilers? But again, we want you to experience these and all the magic they possess if you haven't seen them. So, without further ado, here is Spirit, Stallion, the Cimarron. Taken from his home in the wilderness, Stallion's spirit tries desperately to get back home in an ever-developing world. Along the way, he encounters gruff cavalry colonels, large train engines, and makes friends with a Lakota man named Little Creek. It all takes place in the Old West, whatnot.
It's a classic.
And I'm going to start us off by just mentioning I have nothing against this individual, this musician. Not really a big opinion on any of their discography.
He's a good musician.
But who thought giving an entire movie soundtrack to Bryan Adams, especially an animated children's western about a horse, who thought giving him this whole movie was a good idea?
We're getting absolute masterpiece.
We are getting surfing references in this like pop rocky sound for a western.
Yes.
This is a western.
It fits. It works.
It does not fit. It does not fit.
Because you don't expect it.
It doesn't fit.
You don't expect music about a horse to slap so hard.
But it wasn't about a horse. It was about a wave.
Exactly. And that's why it catches you off guard.
You gotta
like
ride
a wave. And you have to ride it, and you own it. And I will stand by the fact that this is one of the best soundtracks. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go on. You can, if you need to finish anything else.
I do have some water in case we need to cool them off.
It's a good stuff.
It's just, and again, it's not bad. The music is not bad. It just does not fit. And it's a good movie. I'm prefacing this by saying this was a good movie. We're going to talk about good things, but I just got to bring up, we gave Bryan Adams all these songs, and they just don't fit. That's nothing against Bryan Adams or what he does. It's just not working for me. There's a couple parts where it does, but there's like, what, 5 or 6 songs? And
yeah. But just, here I am. So good. Get off of my back. So good. It's just, for me, it's laugh it up. Laugh it up.
Oh, I'm laughing it up. I've been laughing it up for almost 20 years.
I love the music. I don't know. I don't think I'm the only person who. Somebody out there come help me with this.
You're not.
Nope. You're by yourself.
No,
you're not.
In here, at least.
In here, yes.
But you're by yourself. So don't be saying people help me out. You're on your own here.
I can admit that other people like the music too.
Thank you.
I didn't disagree with that. I'm saying you're by yourself in here.
I know that.
Again, it's not bad. I don't think it fits. He does. I don't. And what do you say? Let's point and laugh at him.
You okay there?
I can't control it.
Your throat hurting from all the bull crap coming out of your mouth?
Maybe just a little.
Oh, I'll just be brief and continue. Just
Okay,
despite
talk about the action
despite
scenes.
the soundtrack, and there's a couple other things. But I'll just sum it by saying it's a good movie. It's got a lot of heart, and the blending of animation style works a lot better here, especially that opening shot.
Oh, that opening
You can
shot.
see the differences, but man, is that blending much better than some other movies around the time. And I can see why this was of course it's animated. I can see why this is nominated for the Oscar. Like, it makes sense. It looks really good, and as the story was going, I was like, yeah, this is really good.
It really is. And let's not deny, it gave birth to a whole generation of horse girls.
I can speak to that personally.
Yeah.
Not that I am a horse girl, but my wife is because of this movie.
I like just seeing
Flicka
that.
helped too. Flicka would come in a couple years.
Flicka definitely helped
too.
as well. Absolutely. But you're mentioning it. The animation is so. Some of those opening shots, they straight up look like paintings. They really, really do. And
I mean, weren't they?
You have a point. That is very fair. They were actual. I don't know if they were actually painted, but they were drawn.
Sure. So I don't know about y'all, but from personal experience, my wife loves this movie. Like, loves it. And I had never seen it before. We've been married 5 years and she's never made me watch it. So she was super excited for this. We're sitting there watching it. Things starting. It's getting all pumped up. She's getting pumped up because she loves the thing where the horse follows the eagle like he's flying. Yes. And all of a sudden, I hear a voice. And I go,
yeah.
It's Matt Damon. Crap. Nothing against Matt Damon.
No.
I like Matt Damon in a lot of things. In this particular setting, having such a big name, I feel, is distracting.
You know, that is fair.
To the point where I would say you could do this movie entirely without any monologue.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
The problem becomes marketability, because if no one's talking, or if the animals don't have someone is talking from the perspective of at least one animal, kids lose interest. It's sad, but that's at least the animals aren't talking.
But the horse is so emotive, and like Matt Damon's barely in the thing. Like, he has like one big monologue at the beginning, and then it's like every 5, 15, maybe 45 minutes he'll say a word or two.
Yeah.
It's very off-putting.
The specific scene would be when Spirit escapes from the fort with Little Creek, and right away gets captured again by the other Lakota, but and makes these faces like, I'm like, I get it. And then you hear, once again, more ropes or something like that.
Yeah, it was once again more.
I got it.
I hate chains or
There's
something
about
like
ropes,
that.
and just like that, more rope. It's basically telling us what we just saw and what the horse is emoting. Like, I got it. I got it. And I think you said before in one of our other conversations, if it was like something at the beginning, something at the end, like bookending the whole thing, that would work better. But it's kind of just sprinkled in there, because we'll go 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes with no Matt Damon. I think I don't remember the train sequence when they're pulling the train up. I think that whole action scene happens and you don't hear anything. Like,
you hear him at the very end in something about chains, and it's just very brief, and it's very like, oh, that's how we're gonna
Which I will say, at least with Matt Damon, the nice thing, at least when I was watching it as a kid and using this for kids, is kids know who Matt Damon is. So like, that's not gonna bother them too much. Their parents, maybe here and there I could see it, but I don't think that would be too much of a problem.
It's and then people who recognize him, who are just the normal moviegoer, be like, oh, that's Matt Damon. I know Matt Damon. I recognize that name.
Yeah.
It's just like when we saw The Irishman in theaters, we went to that screening, and when there's that hard cut to Ray Romano in the movie, and there's that old lady behind us goes,
that's Raymond.
And I go, it made me laugh. Yep, just the people who are just watching, just basic level. That's how they react to it. So we are in a different kind of headspace when we watch this stuff. Like when you heard Matt Damon, you're like, oh no.
It's like, oh yeah, it's him.
It's almost it takes you out of the movie almost as much as he does in Interstellar. Dr. Mann, get it?
Dr.
I mean-
Mann. Symbolism.
Nothing gets Interstellar. I just had to make that joke.
I don't want to diverge into that
No.
because that's a whole other thing. I have a lot of feelings about that. Maybe some other podcast. But I did want to say something about the music. You're right. It's not bad. It don't fit. I'm sorry. It just doesn't fit. But I will say that the song When He's on the Train,
Yes.
that does fit. That's perfect.
And even the opening song.
Even the opening song.
Yeah.
It's the one when you're in the Civil War. Not Civil War. I don't even know what.
It's a Civil War area.
Is
era,
I
isn't
think
it?
it's.
I think it is.
We should have researched this.
Yeah.
I'm like
I don't-
90% certain it's
really-
like Civil War era.
when it's in the
Maybe not.
the American barricade or fort or
Before-
whatever
yeah,
it
when
is,
before-
that's when it really it doesn't work.
Are you talking about get off of my back? That one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
But it's such a banger. Like I could listen to that when I work out. I could listen to that when I go to sleep.
Yeah.
It
Are you
just
going to
gets
listen
me
to that
hyped.
while you're breaking in a horse?
Maybe I will.
So all of these things you're saying are not while I'm watching the movie.
Okay, yes, but I just love the music so much. I can't.
And
help
you're
it.
allowed to that. I am still saying all of these things you're saying have nothing to do with the movie.
Well, I'm not. I'm just. It doesn't matter.
You see that?
It's okay.
There's his hole, and he's digging it deeper.
I'm not.
He's digging it deeper.
It's okay to
Hey,
love-
maybe you can listen to the song while you're digging yourself deeper.
Maybe I will. Hey, that's another movie would have fit into Holes, because this song will fit into anything. And Bryan Adams, come on, you give me Summer of '69 vibes. You know I'm jamming. And
Yeah,
that's
that's
It
the-
will
the
fit
holes
in-
is the
it will fit in
after.
any movie.
yes.
I want to play a game. Can we play a
No,
game?
we're not playing this game because this could lead to anything.
Can we? Can we play this
Because remember,
game?
this movie is rated G.
Yes,
Is it really?
Yes.
That is impressive.
My binder is in my backpack. I have my notes in front of me.
Okay. I spent a lot of time on that binder.
And I have it with me all the time.
We printed out like 300 pieces of paper
You killed 20 trees for this.
just to use your computer.
I have access to Google here. What do you have access to?
My phone's right here.
Well,
A crisp piece of paper. But anyway, I would like to also
Ooh.
point out this movie does a great anti-colonialism. It's
It
like
really does.
white men suck, and I'm like, all right, I'm here for this. It's really giving like Pocahontas vibes too.
Oh,
Like
but
these
then-
white men are dangerous. Yes, they are.
But then but this is going to lead into the part that kills me every time. And you'll have a story about this. It's the climax of the movie. So they're getting chased. They get to the gorge, and they've had the thing with the eagle. Like Spirit has said, how he's flown, so almost flown at times, and the eagle symbolism being free. And they jump the gorge, and it's this awesome slow motion. And you got little Creek on top going,
beautiful.
yeah, or whatever.
Yahoo!
And they land. It's a little bit of a rough end landing, which, yeah, I don't know how far
You're
they
jumping
jump.
that far, I could imagine.
And it's this really powerful moment. And here I am going like, wow. But then I remember what comes at the end. So they land, and there's this like stare down between Spirit and the Colonel. And when the Colonel nods his head, just kind of like does a little like that, I go, okay, a little cheesy, but I'll take it. Then they cut to Spirit going, and I lose it.
It's mutual respect. It's mutual respect
to be fair,
between the
It's
characters.
so funny though.
I didn't really get that motion out of that. It was more of a just.
Yeah, but it was
I
funny.
thought it like what
he
I
didn't even
took
really move his head.
what I took away from it was just like he's like, damn, I guess I really can't get ya. And Spirit's like, nope, I'm free.
I just think
And
if he nodded and that was it, I think that would have been fine. But when Spirit like nods back, that kills me. I believe you have did you have something to say at all about that ending?
Oh, well, first of all, I get kind of confused and turned around because I don't understand the geography of the movie. And whenever they run into the gorge, I always think that they are running away from the Native American camp, and then they jump the gorge and they walk a little bit and they're back at the Native American camp. And I get confused because I was pretty sure that they were running away from it, because I was pretty sure that I don't know. I just get confused.
That's after, so he escapes the train thing, and Little Creek had followed the tracks to get him.
Okay, were the tracks leading away from?
I think so. He's far away, and
It's
then
only
Little Creek
leading
finds
a
him,
little bit away.
and then remember they wakes up in the morning with all the apples.
I mean, the reality is
And they get
it's
back.
not that important, and
Yeah, it's much after the attack on the village.
that's just me being
Old.
yeah. That's just me being a boomer.
Showing your age.
No, my story, like I said, my wife loves this movie. But when we started it up, okay, so I got to be honest here. I knew we were supposed to watch these once and then write down our thoughts. I actually watched this twice, once with my wife and then once by myself.
Fair enough.
So we sit down to watch the movie. She's like, okay, before we watch this movie, I got to tell you something. I hate one scene in this movie. Okay. And at this point, I had already watched it myself. I was like, what scene is that? Oh, you hate the scene where the horse jumps the gorge, don't you? She's like, yes! Why? It's the most powerful, it's like the point of the movie. Because it wouldn't work like that. He's a horse, he'd fall into the river.
But he's a powerful horse.
But he's emulating the ego. No, he'd fall into the river. And it's scary.
It's when you talk to people who aren't as big of nerds as we are and look into things that make us happy, and they bring up stuff like that, like that's not really realistic, and you try to reason with them it's just a movie, and then you realize it's not that important.
But to say that my wife is not a nerd about horses.
Horses, yes. I'm saying the way we are dissecting this kid's movie.
Oh,
it's a little unnecessary.
She's just watching it because it's a good movie and she likes it. I just thought it was funny. It's like, oh, that wasn't bugging me at all. I was thinking, wow, that's a pretty wide gorge, but it's a pretty awesome moment. So
beautiful shot.
I will say, it did kind of subvert my expectation of it a little bit, in that we're good with spoilers again.
Yeah,
get that warning. Okay, so
rated G.
20-year-old movie.
I don't remember. Well, there you go. I don't remember the horse's name.
Was it his girlfriend?
Yep.
I don't remember either.
I don't think I wrote it down.
The one with the feather.
Yeah.
Wow, how dare you!
Forgot to write it down. Well, you never really have a main voice because it's just someone adding horse sound effects.
I can do it too.
You should slow that down in the video. 5%. We filming? What frame rate are we filming in?
60.
All right.
So anyway, Spirit's girlfriend, when she goes over the waterfall, and like legit, when he goes over the waterfall after her, and then happens upon her body. Her body's like they drew it bloated, like the way a damaged carcass would be. Like, you look at that and you go, oh, she's not gonna live. And then they wait until the last 30 seconds of the film for her to show back up.
Yep.
I was like, they're gonna keep her dead. They're gonna keep her dead.
Yeah,
And then I cried a little bit when she wasn't
It made you
dead.
cry?
A little bit.
it's moving.
I know.
It's
you
a
tell me
good
that.
movie.
That is, I'm happy for you. I didn't know you cried. There are movies in this whole thing we're doing that have made us cry, or almost cry. We will tell you.
Absolutely.
I didn't remember you telling me that.
Ironically, I cried the most, but I didn't cry. I mean, it moved. Oh, believe me, I was feeling it in my heart.
It's
I was
just
feeling it in my
Bryan
toes.
Adams. It's just Bryan Adams.
It's
moving around.
Bryan Adams. I hear it and I think of heaven playing, and I'm just like, I just want these horses to be happy. It's
So here's one thing that I gotta mention about about this movie is the way it can connect sadness to a kid. Because I remember seeing this in elementary school multiple times. I don't know why. One, it's 83 minutes long, but short.
It's an easy.
It's animated. It's got historical context to it. Kids like it. But I remember, at least in like second or third grade, we watched it like 3 times. I don't know why, and we were all excited because there are funny moments. When he beats up the one big guy that's trying to brand him, we were howling with laughter. And when he's throwing guys off during the song, we were laughing because, the song is out of place. And, okay, maybe not that we weren't laughing at that, but I just remember, especially after the horse goes over the waterfall and was on the train, and just the whole movie, he's been taken away from his home and his family. There's just this profound feeling of sadness. And I remember sitting there as a kid being like, does the horse get home? And then in subsequent viewing, he gets home.
Well, yeah.
But I just remember, there's this interesting connection to kids. It conveys that sadness really well. I don't know how it did that well for me as a kid, but I just remember always feeling really sad for him when I watched.
What I really do think part of it is for that is just the way they animated his face. And I know this is going to sound weird. They didn't make him look too much like a human, obviously, but they gave him really good, emotive facial expressions.
So you're saying, instead, because we've talked about how the realism is kind of put on the back burner at times, like the gorge jumping.
Sure.
So you're saying, because of that little smidgen of, suspension of disbelief, adding more character to the characters, it conveys the animal's emotions and makes it more dramatic and cinematic.
I know where this is going.
He's going.
So why didn't they do that for the 2019 Lion King?
Because they wanted us to be all dead inside. Just like those animals.
I'm not going to go off on my rant because this is about Spirit, not the Lion King. But I'm just going to... I'm disregarding you entirely right now. But what I was going to say is they made the new Lion King to get a different audience...
money.
Okay, well, obviously for money. Obviously they made it for money. But what I was just going to say is that they wanted to make something different. You can recreate it for money, but if you make it look the same, not a lot of people are going to go out and watch it. So when you make it look photorealistic, it's a new look, it's an interesting look, and I know it didn't show us much emotion, I realize that, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. Hat drop.
You can enjoy anything you want.
Thank you.
Even if it's crap. Hat drop. Back to Spirit. Rated G.
Back to Spirit.
So, one thing I found funny about Spirit, and this is
the horse of the movie.
Both.
Kind of both.
Oh.
So, and this is super nitpicky, but it's funny. So in the beginning, in his little gaggle of horses,
herd?
Sure.
I think the word you're looking for is herd.
Whatever. A gaggle, herd, family.
It's
all the
horses,
same.
a group, a pack. We could go on.
I'll go with gaggle.
A warren. A warren of horses. A horse just comes out of the ground.
Horse squad.
Nay.
So anyway, in the herd, there are 2 little horses, right?
Yeah.
They're little kids, right?
Yes.
Obviously little kids. When he comes back at the end, they show those 2 little kid horses again. They are the same age. They have not changed at all.
How long have they gone?
Like 30 minutes, apparently.
I don't know if I remember that.
Human expansion,
which
has put stuff in the water that made that stunted the horse's growth.
There you go.
That way they can make this TV series, which they kind of did.
It all ties back to the movie telling us white men are bad. It really does. I'm here for it. I really am. As a white man, we sometimes suck.
A white man with bad opinions.
Except for the music was good. Hat drop harder. I will harden my hat drop to you. That doesn't make it. I'm sorry. I like this
Dickey,
movie.
you're fired.
I like this movie.
Me too.
We all like this movie.
We all like this movie. This is a good one.
It is. It is.
It's a fun one.
You just like the worst part about it.
I will say, the train sequence was a little funny to me, a little goofy because the way he's like kicking around all karate chops. So I wanted to add the Mission Impossible music because it's like they're dragging him. He's kicking around, kicking these big chains off just on one or two kicks. I go, I don't know how this all works. I don't know if that could work, but
But yeah,
okay.
it's
I mean,
happening.
sure. The train's probably the most the CG that stands out the most, probably. Because other things like the landscapes blended well. That's the one where you're like, yeah, especially when it's rolling. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Again, it wasn't even.
It's not bad. Just
That's what I want to say.
I
For
just
me,
noticed. I just remember like, oh yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. It's definitely, they should have used that music 100%.
I still wish they would have lessened that narration because it does cheapen some of those subtleties. But
Honestly,
again, you got to market this toward kids, and kids don't like.
I think
when
you're
there's no
100%.
talking.
I think that's what you're 100%
For the most
correct.
part.
It really would have made it a lot more. What's the word? Like impactful if you didn't have to hear him say
Everything
what he was
he's
doing.
demoting.
Yeah.
Again, I'll say it till the day is done. At the beginning, right up until about when he walks up on those humans, and then at the end when he returns.
So basically, when humans enter the story, that's when you cut off the human narration.
Yeah, because,
Makes sense. It
I
makes
mean,
sense.
so
Yeah.
because
Actually,
you
that does
don't-
make sense.
You don't have to wonder if it's a human that's actually talking.
Good point.
There were
Yeah.
a couple of times when I was like, "Who's that?" I mean, I knew it was Matt Damon because it was Matt Damon, and I knew it was the horse, but it was still kind of awkward. And then I was sometimes like, "Why isn't a human answer?" Oh,
I'll say that. Yeah, that's really, really good.
But at least
we
they
should have made this
didn't
movie.
Make the
We should have
animals
made all
talk.
these movies, including Boss Baby.
Yes, I'm ready for it. And yes, no talking animals is always better. Give me Matt Damon monologues all day before you give me another talking animal. I like talking animals, but you know worse.
I like talking Boss Babies.
I'm not looking forward to talking about Boss Baby.
Why not? It's wonderful.
We're only like 30 some away from it.
You haven't even watched it yet.
No, I'm not looking forward to it.
It's wonderful. It's like an acid trip.
97 minutes of it too.
Be on acid if I'm gonna watch it. Morty.
I mean, it might make more sense that way. And
You
you
gotta
know
cor-
what? You know what? Hot take. I am looking forward to the sequel.
Okay.
But not to Spirit's sequel.
So here's a trivia question then. What do Spirit and the Boss Baby both have in common?
Are you kidding me?
Runtime?
Oh no, there's a 14-minute difference.
Are they both G?
There's no. There's two things they have that are similar, that are big. You ready for this? They're both getting a sequel in 2021, and they were both nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Academy Awards.
Wow, must have been a soft year for that.
Yeah, I'm
It was
pretty
a
sure
decent
it
year,
was.
actually.
Did it
But
win?
still-
Did Spirit win?
No.
No, it did not.
No, Spirit.
What did
would've-
Spirit go up against? Do you remember?
Wow. I would pull it up on my phone just to be sure. I know the Spirit.
What
I think
year?
that's the year with Treasure Planet
What-
and
Okay.
Lilo and Stitch,
2002?
Ice Age, and I think Spirited Away won.
Oh,
year.
I mean,
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
second one because it was Shrek and then Spirited Away.
yeah. If it's against Spirited Away, that's very valid.
And I think
Huh.
Boss Baby lost to Coco.
How about that? There were two movies in there that had the word spirit in them. It's kinda
How
fun.
about that?
That's kind of funny.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks. I'm good at making observations.
Correlation.
That was 2002.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
It was up against Ice Age. Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
I read
Ice
it
Age.
wrong. Spirited Away,
Yeah.
Ice Age, Lilo and Stitch, Spirit, Stallion. Oh, this one, yeah.
Treasure
Planet.
Okay.
I got it. Whew. I was scared I was going to get it wrong in front of the camera. But
No, that's
I got it.
impressive.
I got
Nicely
it.
done.
I have to admit that I agree with the Academy choice here.
Yeah,
Oh, of course.
I mean, it's Spirited Away. Like, it's hard not to.
But yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, we can start wrapping up these thoughts on Spirit. But we are getting a sequel, this year. It's
That's
coming
gonna
out.
be interesting.
It's
I'm
coming
not-
out in June, which when we recorded this, it's not June yet.
Yes.
So we will have to watch this eventually.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it could be June. I'm just wearing my hoodie in June.
yeah, this is definitely June.
Yeah, but well, I don't know how I feel because it's based off the TV show that it was on a streaming service. I think it was Netflix, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it's Netflix. Yeah.
It was a Netflix show from a couple years ago, and it's like the same story but a little different. I don't know how it works. I don't even think it's Spirit. Isn't it Spirit's son or something?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I don't know. I don't like that style of animation. And again, we'll keep mentioning this. This is nothing against the animators. It's just the style I'm not a huge fan of. But we'll see. Maybe it's better than I think. Just the trailer doesn't make it look
Yeah,
interesting
We'll
to
see.
me, but we're not the demographic.
that is also true. That is true.
So
Not making it for movie nerds. But yeah,
Spirit, Stallion
Spirit.
of the Cimarron. That's a good one.
it really, really is. Like, just wrapping it all together, like, it was, for a kid's movie, really well done. Like, it just really made me feel sad about a horse. And not necessarily a horse person, but I really felt it for this. Hat drop, music was perfect.
What time are you going to drop that hat?
Last time. That's all I'm going to say. Music was perfect.
I'd say you drop all or maybe a big chunk of the narration, get rid of
I'm actually here
all
for-
but
yeah.
maybe one or two Bryan Adams songs. I think you got yourself pretty high
Really-
top tier movie. I really do.
It really is.
Yeah, but even with those, it's still really good. Rewatching it was like, yeah, this is good. I was pumping my fists at the end. I was jumping off my couch, just like, yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
get him!
And I thought, oh, I already know this. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a fun one.
It definitely is.
Any other thoughts?
I just had to leave it at that. I am pleasantly happy with this.
Anything?
Nothing else that we haven't already said. We didn't talk about like the gorge chase. Like the way it blends 3D animation is great.
That is true.
I
Just
think
the
that kind of ties into the opening too. How
Yeah.
I think the opening they go through some gorge-looking areas with the
Mhm.
river and the eagle flying. So
And
Yeah.
I definitely understand the point of the movie. It's just really good.
it really it has like
Except
a
for the
lot of
music.
different themes, which I really like about it.
it's a shame again with these traditional animated ones that they just didn't make money. Like
Would you
this
really
one,
call,
is-
would you really call it a traditionally animated movie though?
Oh,
it's like half and half.
It's it's
But-
It's
enough.
like a good creamer.
It really is.
This movie is a good creamer.
I was gonna say, like, when you look at the worldwide box office compared to the budget, you're like, oh, it made more than the budget. But then you look at like Shrek 2, which made like 800 million more.
Okay,
It's like
you
that's-
can't compare that to Shrek 2 though.
I'm just saying they're coming out around the same time, and you're seeing this style is making 100 million, and the other one's making 900 million. Even
Yeah.
if I flip, like Madagascar made over 500 million.
I just
think
I
Flushed
just
Away,
I just
no,
think
that's not
this
a good
had the
example.
unfortunate timing of coming out after the Disney Renaissance and when the
And-
world was
and
moving away from
Basically, post
Mm-hmm.
Shrek. After Toy Story and Shrek, the two big pieces of that,
That's where everything
that's
changed.
when everything, it's like, these aren't making money anymore. And it's sad. Like, this made a profit.
but not enough.
But,
well,
yeah.
apparently it made enough to get a sequel. It just took about 20 years.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's had a TV show first, straight to stream.
Right.
It's just how different things are now. Again, it's a shame because the next one, good transition to the next one.
There we go.
The next one is the last of the traditionally animated DreamWorks feature films, and it is Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. We'll get to it in our next episode. I know I'm a much bigger fan of it than the other two. We'll get into that later. Any other thoughts, guys, before we wrap it up?
You got me here?
No, but even just I don't know another thought on the movie. I'll probably cut it after this, but just a thought based on what you were talking about budget. Even looking at something like Princess and the Frog, which arguably was a big comeback for 2D animation, only made $269 million.
Yeah, which is, I think, way under what they were looking at.
I mean, it's more than double their budget, but
At the same time, yeah, everything else bigger.
It's
Yeah.
just, yeah. When
and
you
that was
relate it
after
to-
it being absent for 10 years,
Yeah.
Yeah, about, I think
roughly 10 years.
about 6 years. Home on the Range is 04, I think.
Oh,
5 years.
well,
5 years.
no one pays attention to that.
What?
For those listening on the podcast, we were moving our hands at each other like a bunch of wimps.
Jazz hands.
No, that's not that's the jazz. What is this?
That's jazz hands.
This is wow, I'm really crippled, aren't
Context.
I? And with that,
We bid you adieu.
goodbye.